Hello, welcome to another Makerspace Online Workshop. We're going to have a look at the Artec Studio and the Artec scanners. So this is our Spyder scanner. You first have to plug in the USB and you have to just line it up and gently push it down. Do not force it till it seats down. And then the power jack, we're just going to insert it in and then thread it up till it's just snug. And that's how it should look in the end. Then we're going to plug it into our scanner laptop, and it is a C input, so you need a converter to plug the USB into the laptop. Now, your object, if it's shiny at all, if it's not totally flat, or if it's got multi-colors, you're going to have to put probably a spray on it. You can just spray paint it if it doesn't matter to you. We do have a permanent scanning spray, which is shown on this black bottle here. And then we've got a vanishing spray that you can use, which actually vanishes in a few hours if you don't want anything on your object. So first we need to open up Artec Installation Center, and we got to make sure that Artec Studio 16 is activated. So if it's not, click Activate, and also that the SP Artec scanner is also either on loan or activated. Okay, then I'm going to go to Artec Studio. The first thing to do is go New Project, and then it's good to save the project right away to the folder that you're going to be able to find it in. And when we click on the scan, you should then see this window, the second window here that says Preview. And if you don't see that, you're going to have to go back into Artec's Installation Center and make sure the scanner is activated or on loan. So, operating the Spyder. What you do is you first push the button up once, let go, and that's in preview mode. And in this mode, you should see a blue graph basically on the software. Okay, so here it is here. What we want is that blue kind of in the center area or slightly above. And once you get, so this is the distance to your object. Now once you get that, then we're going to be ready to go. So I'm going to use this object. I've put a few alignment marks on this, which is really helpful to line up all your individual scans when we get into the software. So I'm going to push up again the second time, and now I'm live scanning. So trying to keep the distance accurate to slowly start to go around the top of the model, and you can go down the sides. Now you can do a little or as much as you want with each scan. We're going to do multiple scans. So here's what I'm trying to do. I'm live now. I'm in the green area, which is good, and you can see I'm slowly moving around the object, and we're going to do multiple scans, but the trick is you want to have your alignment points or some distinguishing marks so you can line up the scans later. So in every scan, you want at least one or two lineup marks. Okay, so you saw it flash red, and when it flashes red, it means you're out of range. So you're too close or too far away. And what that can do is the tracking gets lost. So what it recommends you do is you just click the button down to abort the scan and just start what you just did over again, but try to keep it in range. These scans are probably not going to be good enough because they're not going to be aligned properly. So I'm scanning some more here. Again, I'm in the green area. You can see the scanners coming along. And here I am just slowly going around the object. And I can't get all the way around, so I'm going to turn the scanner around later. But you see, I've just pushed the button down once. That's going to lock that scan. Then I'm going to start again and do another scan. So now I'm trying to get down to the edge on this one. I'm trying to get the edges a bit better on this one. I'm still scanning the top because I want some of those registration marks so I can register each scan later on. Now you can move your scan around. I like to actually rotate it. You can tip it up to get the back side if you want. Just as long as you get a few of the registration marks or some visible marks that you're going to be able to line up later. So every scan needs some common marks that you can line up later on. So it's great to rotate because I can get the other side. I can't go around here. There's a computer in the way, so I'm going to rotate the object and then do some more scans. So here we are in Artec Studio, and you can see all the scans. Looks like a giant mess, but it's actually going to be all right. So you can see here we have group. That was the scan where I got the red showing, so it was out of alignment. So I'm just going to click on that and have a look at that. Quite often we're probably going to want to not even use these scans, but let's uncheck all these scans and just take a look at each one. This is also a good time that you can choose to do a little more scans if you think you're missing some information. You can also do it later in the program too. So there's one of the scans in our group, and there's another. So that brown area is basically the table surface, and we're going to deal with that later. So I'm going to delete that one scan. It didn't look like I really could use it. And now I'm going to take a look at some of the other scans. So it's a good shot of the top. You can see some of my registration marks, got some of the edge. This is a pretty good scan. And let's just take a look at some of the others. Don't like that one, so I can delete it. Now, be careful when you delete these. Like even this one doesn't look that great, but there's some of the scans that caught one of the four edges, so you may want to not just go and delete everything if it doesn't look that great. It may have some information on the edges in that, or even the top, that some of the other scans don't have. So if you're not sure at all, just keep the scan, don't delete it. So I'm pretty sure I have most of this information, and that's why I'm deleting some of these scans. Okay, so let's go up to this group, and that was the one that we got the red signal on, and it was probably realigned. That slide looks good, so we can just drag it out and we can delete that actual folder. Okay, so now I'm going to highlight all of these scans just by clicking on them, and then I'm going to click on the top, hold my shift key, and select all the actual scans. There we go. And then I'm going to go over to Align. Actually, first close the scan window, then go over to the toolbar and Align. Just click on that. So now we're going to align the individual scans. You see there's one in blue. That's the locked scan. And we're going to do one at a time and line them up to the first scan. So let's click on Spyder 2. And now we need the registration points. So first of all, we have to see the registration points. So what we're going to do is click down Shift Control on the keyboard, and then either the left mouse button. If we click the left mouse button, it's going to rotate the scan. If we double click, if we click both mouse buttons, we're going to move it. So again, Shift Control, both mouse buttons move it. If you just put the left mouse button, it's going to rotate it. Okay, so we just need to move it around so we can see our registration marks. Now, we can see the points I made, but you can also see the paint marks. You can use whatever works for you to align it. So we're going to make some alignment points. So now at any time, you can grab this point and move it. Okay, and you can also delete it if you accidentally put them in. Just right-click, delete pair, and they're gone. So let's line up this X. And then we've got this kind of circle here. I'll click on that, make our second pair. And the one is not visible, so I need to use another mark. So that looks like a good area. Looks about the same. Now keep in mind, these don't have to be exact, but close as you can. And then we're going over and click on Align. Okay, so you see then it pulls everything in. So there's a green bar down at the bottom of the page here. So it's still working. It's actually still aligning. So don't go clicking around until that's done. So now it's done. Now we'll do the next one. So we'll do Spyder 6. We've highlighted that. We'll move it over. And this we can only see 2 points again, so we'll start with that, do our 2 points, and then we just need to find another point here. Now, you can try it with even 1 point. The best scenario is you have 3 points to line up. It doesn't have to be super accurate, but the more points, 3 is ideal for it to line up. You can try 1. Sometimes it doesn't understand the orientation, so it might be flipped or something. But just play with it, and if you can do 3 points, fantastic. Again, the green bar is working, so wait till that's done. These are all blue now, so we're going to click the next one for the next alignment. Control-Shift to bring that over. Control-Shift, the left mouse button to rotate it, just so we can see all the marks. So this one's good. I've got definitely my 3 clear points. I'm going to quickly click on those. And if you don't have any clear points, you will have problems. So keep that in mind. It's important to have the lineup points in each scan. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the rest of the scans, and we'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, so I've done the scans, and you can see Spyder 14. I didn't use that one because there wasn't any good alignment points. So I actually should delete that at this point. You can highlight and delete it. The next step is just hit apply. And you can see the debris over in the left side. That's that scan I didn't delete. So in actuality, I should have deleted that. Let's click now on the editor. Okay, so you can see all our scans on the right side. Now we're going to go to eraser. And what I want is to use the cutoff plane selection and holding my left mouse button down and the control key. I'm just going to go around the object. Be careful not to touch the object. Just like that. Now it's going to select the plane, which is hopefully the table. Okay, now let's just rotate it to the front or side view of it. And then using the control scroll, your scroll button, I'm just going to lift the plane up a bit. Be careful not to go up so it hits the object. So now we can use either delete or click on the erase. It's going to delete all that. So a lot of debris left, and that yellow is that one scan that I didn't align, so I could have just deleted that, but no worries. Let's just go up to the 3D selection. We'll click on that. There we go. And just taking the left mouse, we're going to click around this, and again, you can change the size of the cursor here. Down on the bottom left side it shows you. So I'm just going to try to highlight them as much as that as I can. This isn't too critical here because we're going to do a bunch of other operations to get rid of most of the debris. So I'm now just going to hit delete. And a lot of that's gone. Quite a bit of debris left, but no worries. So I'm just going to go up and close the editor. Okay, now I'm going to go up to the toolbar again, the left side, and click on Tools. And we're going to global registration this. So the default settings are good. We're just going to hit apply. And it's going to register our scans here. So again, watch for that green bar at the bottom. If it's working away, just leave it. Do no more clicking. Okay, so there's still a lot of debris left. Let's click on Outlier Removal. And default settings are usually pretty good. You can adjust them later if you're not happy with the results. Let's hit apply. And waiting for the green bar until it finishes processing. Okay, so got rid of a lot of stuff. There is a bit left, but we'll deal with that a little later. Let's just zoom in on this, and you can see there's some spikes in that sticking out, and a bit of debris underneath our object still. Missing the bottom. We didn't scan the bottom, so that's logical. But what I'm doing now is just looking for, is all the information there? And it does look pretty good. I've got my top. It seems like all the sides are there. So I'm happy with that so far. So I'm going to go up to Tools, and I'm going to go to Sharp Fusion. And we've got the radius smaller. That's the default. That's usually the best. There is all watertight. It's going to try to seal at the bottom. Later, manually don't usually use that. So with radius smaller is usually the default, and I usually go with the default settings to start with and just hit apply. And it's going to get rid of some of these artifacts, and it also gets rid of the texture map. So now you can see the real texture of the plywood and that. You can see on the right, we've got Sharp Fusion. That's the actual file it made. We still have our original scans. And you can see there's still some debris and that hanging around there and underneath. And of course, we don't have a bottom on this. Okay. So let's go to post-processing now. And we're going to go to Small Object Filter. Now, smaller and specified are all except largest. That's what I want to do, because we've only really got one object. So click on that, and now already you can see all that extra stuff is gone. So we've got a clean mesh now. Now it's a bit raggedy at the bottom. So, and there seemed to be one little part out. Let's close that window. Let's go to Fix Holes. So you can see there's a list on the left side, and you can see with one little hole there. So if there was a bunch of holes, there'd be a whole list there, and you can select whatever hole you want. Now, unfortunately, the only hole it really sees is that little one, but it's also the whole entire bottom. So you can try this. I sometimes bring this into a 3D program and make my own bottom. But if you want to try that, just go Fill Holes. And again, a list, you can do whichever holes you want. So click on Fill Holes. And you can see it filled in the entire bottom and of course filled in that little small hole which was connected. So actually that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that, so I'll keep that. So you see though, it has gotten rid of our texture map. So we can deal with that a little later. But there is a few other things you can do at this point. It is pretty well done, but you can go up to the toolbar and click on Tools. Mesh Simplification, you're going to reduce the amount of polygons, so simplify the mesh, make the file smaller. Could get rid of some of your details though, so be careful of that. We can do smoothing to smooth out the surface and the edges if you want. So you can just play with these, and you just click on Apply if you want to do it. And if you're not happy, you can just go undo. So now if you want textures back on your object, let's just close the tool menu and let's go down to the texture. Click on that. And now you can see all our scans here. Well, the texture was on most of those scans, so let's just highlight them all, leave it at export, and go Apply. And this is going to recreate our map for Sharp Fusion 1. And there we go. And on the left side here, we can adjust these sliders to live adjust the contrast and that if you're not happy with the colors and contrast and that. And if everything looks good, you can just go down to the bottom and hit Apply. And there you go. So now we have the texture map for our scan. So the scan, of course, there's no texture map on the bottom because we didn't actually scan that area. So it looks pretty good. So now we want to save your project first of all, and then go to Export and Meshes. And then we got to fill in these areas here. So we want to select STL or OBG. Then we got to select the actual format of the texture map, and you have a variety of images to select there. Then we got to type in a name. And then we want to go up and we need to save the project to a location. So save it to somewhere on your computer, select the folder, and click OK. So let's go look at this. This is my project folder. Those are the scans. They're not available to edit except in the Artec program. But here's my object I save, and there's the texture map I saved, the JPEG. So let's just open up Tinkerine Suite, the printer software, and let's just drag my object in. And just a note, the texture map isn't going to come in because this is the printer program. You could bring the texture map into something like Fusion 360, SolidWorks, and Rhino. Okay, so there's my object. It's ready to print and looks pretty good. So of course I have to go through the settings on Tinkerine, put its supports and that kind of thing in, but there's the object. Now I could also bring it into a 3D program at this point, which is great to, if you're doing a cover for something or if you were going to merge this into another object. So that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you.